Finishing up section 2 dash, what is it, 2 dash 1 or 2 dash 2? 2 dash 2, right?
Yep.
2 dash 2. No, 2 dash 1.
Yes, 2-1.
Yeah, 2 dash 1. We're on 2 dash 1.
I thought 2-2.
No, maybe you're on 2-2 because you got 69.2% when you're on
I
the
didn't, I
No,
had-
you're not the one? Okay. All right, so let's look at number 29. They're asking us, they're giving us an inequality, and they're asking us to graph it, okay? So it says x, and then they give us the inequality symbol.
Graphing?
Yep.
Oh.
Now, just so you understand, every inequality can be represented two different ways. Remember, inequality means not equal to. Not equal to, okay? For example, my age and Maurer's age. That's not the same, okay? Our age is not the same. Now, there's two ways you can explain that. What's one way we could compare ages? You could say Ko's age is greater than Maurer. What's another way you could have said it? Maurer's age is less than my age. Okay, which is right? They both are.
Oh.
Okay, so what I'm saying is it doesn't matter which way you do it, okay? Every inequality can be represented two different ways. Now watch, to make this easier. Instead of saying x is bigger than 2, you could have said 2 is what? Less than x. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm going to tell you right now, it's a whole lot easier if you always start with the variable first. I would always write it so the variable's first, okay? So, I'm not going to do that. That's the way it was written. We're going to leave it like that, okay? How you graph it. We're talking about every number bigger than 2. So, for example, here's 2. Is 3 a solution? Why?
Because it's bigger.
It's bigger than 2. So I'll fill that in. Is 4 a solution? Sure, it's bigger than 2. Is 1 a solution? No, it's not bigger than 2. How about 2.5?
Yes.
How about 2.1?
Yeah.
We're saying everything to the right of 2. Now, is 2 a solution?
Yes.
Because it's bigger than or equal to. So I would also fill in 2. So here's a quicker way of doing it, okay? I want to show you a real simple way of figuring out the answers here, okay? Instead of thinking this is an inequality symbol, as long as you always write x first, or whatever variable you're using, think of it as an arrow. This arrow is pointing to the right. You'd shade to the right. And if you see an equal sign, you fill up the dot. That means you include it. If the equal sign wasn't there, we would still shade to the right, but it would be an open dot. You wouldn't count 2, okay? Now, what if it said this? Which way would we shade? To the left. How come?
Oh,
Because it's pointed to the left. Now listen carefully. I already said it once. I'm going to say it again. True or false? The inequality always points the way you shade. Almost true. It points the way you shade if x is on the left. If you always write x first, or whatever variable you're using, it will point the right way to shade. So I'd shade to the left. Open or close dot? Open. You close it if you see a line here. You'd have an open dot, shade to the left. Okay? So, this question right here, we'd have a closed dot at 2 and shade to the right. That's the answer for number 29. Let's look at 31. Okay. And again, I'm going to try to make these as easy as I can. It says -1 is bigger than t. Now, is that an inequality? Yeah, why? Let me ask you this. What makes an equation an equation? No. What makes an equation an equation? It has an equal sign. Is that an inequality?
No,
Why?
because the T is on the.
I didn't ask that. Is it an inequality is all I asked. Hold that thought.
No.
Hang on. Is that an equation?
Yes.
Is that an equation?
Oh,
Yes.
shoot.
Okay. Is this an inequality? Yeah, why? Because not because what is there? And these are inequality symbols. Those bigger than, less than symbols are inequality symbols. That's an inequality. Okay, what were you saying, Ryan? You like the way this is written?
No, right, that T was on the right side.
So it is an inequality, but we don't like it because you like to have t where?
Left side.
So here's what you do. You put t over here, you put -1 here, and then what do you do with that inequality symbol?
Flip it.
Do you have to do that? No, you don't have to. I would.
easier.
It's easier, okay? If you do that, we put -1.
To the left,
How come?
because it's pointing to the left.
Open or close dot at -1?
Open.
Open.
Because there's
It
no
has a
line
It's
there,
not equal to.
okay? I always put them above the line. I think you're actually gonna put them on the line. Do you understand why I don't put them on the line?
It
I
makes
put
it
So you
harder.
can see it.
Yeah, you can't really see it. I mean, you kind of can see it, but it's hard to see it. Okay? Okay, two more. 33. Okay, we have V, where are we at? V is less than or equal to -4. Okay. Again, I want to make sure we're going to start with baby steps here. Is that an inequality?
No.
Why? Well, you said no and yes. Which is it? It is or isn't? It is. Why?
Because it has the,
Inequality symbol.
Yeah.
Now, Ryan's not going to answer. I'm just curious. Everybody else. Does Ryan, be quiet, Ryan. Does Ryan like the way this one's written? Yes. Why? Is where? In the front, on the left, whatever you want to say. Okay, that's the way we want to do it. Okay? So, we have our number line, -4. Now, sometimes students, they wonder, where do I put the V at? You don't put the V anywhere. Okay? V is some number, okay? We don't put it on there, okay? All right, and what kind of a dot are we going to have at -4? Open or closed? Closed. Why?
because it has the equal thing.
Has a line there. Closed and shade which way?
Left,
Why?
because it's facing left.
It's pointed to the left.
Yep.
Okay? All right.
Left.
Oh, wait, now I'm getting it. It's much easier now.
Yeah.
This is easy.
Last one, 35.
Graphing's probably the easiest.
1/4 is less than P. 1/4 is less than P. Okay, we like the way that one's written? I don't either.
I'm pretty okay with that.
Okay, so we're gonna put P here and 1/4 here. We just switch everything. The left side goes on the right, the right side goes on the left, and what else do we do?
Flip
Then
these.
equality.
Flip it around.
And then, wait, can
Why do we like that better?
Because it points.
P's on the left, yes, sir.
Can we change the 1/4 to 0.25?
I think they're gonna have 1/4 on the, yeah, they have 0.25.
I could say that.
You don't need to, but I'm looking at on the computer and it says it has decimals. Which
I-
they shouldn't, in my opinion, they shouldn't. If they gave it to you as fractions, you would have thought they would have fractions on the.
Decimals is just easier for me for some
Okay,
reason.
tomato, tomato. So, 0.25, open or closed?
Open.
Open.
Why? Two words.
It's not equal to,
No line, okay? Or not equal to. And shade which way?
right?
How come? Okay, and I'm gonna be right up front with you right here. If you're not getting this, you're not paying attention. I mean, before I turn you loose here, there's a very simple explanation. How did you know you're supposed to go to the right?
Because it points.
It's pointing to the right. It's no different than a stop sign. What do you do with a stop sign? Stop, because it says stop. It says point to the right, so guess what?
Common
Go to the
sense.
right,
It's a
okay?
good sign.
All right.
You're not paying attention.
Rest of the time's yours.
I tried saying stuff to that, but it's missed time.